Ever feel like you're either dominating or disconnected? Like if there's no goal, no opponent, no intensity, it's like your fire just isn't there. You're not broken. You could just be the type 1A profile, which we're going to go through today. Now, you may not be the type 1A profile, but it is pretty cool to learn about. So, this is the neurotype that's pretty much like built for war, high pressure environments, big heavy lifts, and constant progressions. They're not the most empathetic people in the world, nor the most adaptable, but when it's time to turn on, they go full beast mode. So, in this episode, we're unpacking the raw brain chemistry behind the 1A and how to train, eat, live, and recover in the way that fuels their fire without burning them out. So, who is the type 1A? We call these ones like the savages, really, like the savage brutes. And I know my branding, I talk about savages all the time. I'm not talking about 1As. It's just like I'm trying to kick into that gear of just kill mode, right? But these people just live here. So, in terms of their neurotransmitters, their adrenaline is their main driver. It's very quick to activate. They're very sensitive to it, and they've got a higher adrenaline baseline. So they're always looking to go, right? Their GABA is quite high as well, so that's going to keep them calm in chaos. That's like the dream competition state, right? Like you're calm and you just amped up, ready to go. Now they've got low dopamine baseline, and they're very sensitive to dopamine. So they're going to crave that reward, but they have to be careful because it can burn out quick. They got low acetylcholine as well. So that means that they're not wired for skill like at all. Like they're slower to learn. They need lots of reps to actually get it down, as opposed to the 1Bs who are super high in acetylcholine and are really good at learning new skills. They're also low in glutamate, which makes them low empathy, low emotional distraction. Just they're not empathetic people. And we're going to go into it a little bit more, but when they lower these things even more, like if they do keto or something like that, they can get real assholes. Okay, so their serotonin's pretty high, but not like the type threes. They don't lean on it. It's not like a major player for them. So their core personality types for a 1A would be super high confidence, low emotion, right? And I'm sure you know these kind of people. They crave competition, pressure, and winning, and they do well in these settings as well. They may struggle to get into the zone without some kind of external fire, like just like amping them up, ready to go. Emotionally, they're pretty bulletproof, but motivation will depend on what the next challenge is. Let's talk about the chase of dopamine. Dopamine is the reward chemical. That's the win, right? 1As don't have much of it just on standby. So they need adrenaline to spike. And once they hit that reward, it's fuel to go again. Okay, so here's the cycle for the 1As. Adrenaline fires first, higher intensity, more danger, more challenge. Like they're alert, they're in, they're feeling good. Dopamine is released. That's when we get the win. And then the GABA keeps them focused. So it's just like cool under pressure. So without constant wins or challenges for the 1As, the dopamine just dries up. They'll feel flat, uninspired, lazy even though they're not. So it's not a motivation issue. It's a brain chemistry mismatch. Okay. So their lifestyle must include daily triggers that light that fuse. When it comes to their training, and now this is something that if the rest of that sounded like you, this is going to be super important for your training. You're going to want to be like nervous system focused things, high intensity, very heavy, low volume. Okay, max effort like lifts, heavy barbell things, fast reps. This is going to be your wheelhouse. This is what you want. Just aggression. That's what we're talking about here. Just aggression in your training. So the best kind of programs for this will be like the 5-3-1 method. Super simple, but you get to go heavy as fuck all the time. Cluster sets are awesome. Heavy EMOMs. Near or max effort, right? So like 90 to 100% for 1 to 3 reps will be good. Low reps, fast reps, short sessions. That's what they need. Too long, they will burn out. So we need to make sure that the volume is lower here. The tolerance is quite low. So 3 to 4 exercises max. You don't want to go over more. And I'm recently learning this because I've always just added a heap of volume. And this guy I've learned it from, Christian Thibodeau, says shit coaches hide their shit coaching with more volume. So it's hard for me to even be like, oh, fuck, 3 to 4 exercises. But then I think to my own training, and I couldn't do much more than that anyway because I'm a 1B. But we'll get into 1Bs another time. So when we're thinking about the training, we do the A series, B series, C series. So the A series is going to be 80% of the goal of the workout. Okay. And you can superset that so you can get some more exercises in. But that's the main thing. B is going to complement that, and C is just some accessory work that you can chuck in there if you're feeling recovered. Now, they will feel the best when sessions are short and just they're going hard as fuck. That's what they want. They want to just be amped up the whole time, nothing to cool them down, no looking at the phone, stay in the zone. So when it comes to tempo is why we lift, right? So we can lift real fast, so we can lift real slow. The 1As do not like lifting slow. They want fast eccentric, so fast bringing it down, and then explosive concentric. They just want to fucking go. Slow tempos are boring for them. It actually will make them release cortisol when they're doing something like this because they're just not going to be in the zone and they're just going to be less motivated. Okay. When it comes to building muscle, we want 6 to 8 reps at 80 to 85%. So still super heavy, but not excessive reps here because they're just going to fucking hate it. Okay. So avoid like lactate based work. They don't need to feel that burn, that like the extended burn. They want to lift fucking heavy, and they actually will build muscle like this more because they're going to feel it better. They're more wired. They're triggered. Like, yes, this is for me. Instead of like you give them 15 reps, they're not fucking do it. They'll probably quit. They'll probably stop. They'll just be like, nah, I'm not doing this. Big time. So big no-nos, high rep isolation work, burnout session, like circuits, no good. No, like those hit sessions of just like ages, no good. Pump work like bodybuilding, no good. If it's just feeling the burn the whole time, they'll just quit. Okay. That's the training. So they just want to lift heavy as fuck, be aggressive. That's pretty much it, right? When it comes to the nutrition, we need to protect the dopamine and avoid excessive cortisol. So we could go like zone style or carb cycling. So zone styles equal macronutrient splits. Okay, so just like your standard, like we're just having lots of carbs, lots of fats, lots of protein. That's awesome. We could do some carb cycling in there, or even just like carb timing would be cool. So protein and fats before training will give a dopamine boost, which is what they're looking for, and it will amp them for their training session. And then carbs and protein after a training session to boost their recovery and release more serotonin, which will help bring them down because at that naturally high adrenaline state that they got, that baseline is huge. We can use that serotonin to bring it down so they're not so amped up and wild. So if you're training at night, this would be a really good thing. If you've ever just been lying in bed, just been like, I can't fucking sleep, you need some carbs to bring you down. Okay. High protein. That's like a precursor to dopamine. In terms of like carbs, a moderate amount of carbs, but again, after workout and backload very hard on them. So it's not that you're going to low carb, you're still having high carb. It's just towards the end of the day when you don't need to be that locked in and driven mode. Okay. High fat will be good as well. That will like more dopamine support. And you do just want to avoid low fat diets. It will just kill your motivation. Keto can work for the 1As. They can feel really good at the start, mentally sharp, aggressive. So really good for coming into like fights or some kind of competition where they're peaking their strength, they're ready to go. But not so good long term because it will not be so good for their serotonin, which will make them moody and disconnected. And Christian Thibodeau just says they'll become more like assholes. Okay, so you really just want to be using it as a tool, not something to lean on forever. He also says that the 1As that feel unreal on keto are going to be like the leaders of keto. The ones like, you need to do keto. This is the fucking way. And then like the 2Bs will be like the followers. They'll just be, yeah, I feel good. Everyone should do this. Okay, so use it as a tool. If you feel unreal on it, like who am I to tell you not to do it, right? I felt pretty good on carnivore. I think I feel better now having more carbs, but use it as a tool. I'm not ruling it out either. I'm like, oh, what if I did have a jiu-jitsu comp and I want to just peak my strength for like 2 weeks coming into it, you know? Also, like when it comes to losing water weight for competitions like that in combat sports, you're having no carbs anyway. So you're kind of already pissed off from this. Okay. You could do some fasting if your stress is low, but otherwise I wouldn't recommend it for the 1As. When it comes to recovery, they recover physically fast, but mentally not so much. They risk dopamine depletion. So things where we could do like slight resets for the nervous system. So light movement. So this is where you could do some mobility and some stretching just to make them feel like they're still moving. Some breathing drills would be good. Saunas. Um, you don't want like any active rest with high intensities. Like go for a walk. That's fine. Don't go for a fucking sprint. So there's some signs that like when the 1As are cooked, they'll feel flat. They'll have zero drive. They're just not loving life, and that's like dopamine depletion, which some people will classify as overtrain. They're like, oh, they're overtrainers. No, they just depleted their dopamine. That's what it is. They could go if they just recovered better. We can change this with lifestyle and daily structures as well. So we need more dopamine triggers. So PR attempts, unreal. Okay, they love that. Time-based challenges, really cool. Competition, even if it's not against someone else, it could just be with themselves. And then win stacking. We could like gamify habits, tracking progress, all these little things. So you can see that it just needs the whole thing needs to be gamified. We're chasing these big goals, and it just that's the fun. That's how we're boosting the dopamine the whole time. So the ideal routine here would be training early, so you can spike that adrenaline early. Um, you also don't want to be having 2 rest days in a row from the gym because your nervous system won't be primed and ready to go, and you'll actually feel shit and have a shit session, which is the opposite of dopamine boosting. You also want to avoid as much chaos as possible. You want a mission, have a mission. That's what you're chasing, and you'll be locked in. So the biggest threat to the 1As is stagnation. No targets equals no drive. And that's when the crash will happen. So they need to gamify the process. They need to have projects. They need to lock in and go. Supplement wise, L-tyrosine is the first thing you'd be taking. Dopamine precursor. So you're just going to bring that baseline up. Alpha GPC, which gives you just like it helps you focus and lock in. These two would be the main ones that I would give. Then you could do some magnesium glycinate. I don't know how you say it, either way, to have at night just to help your nervous system wind down, and that can help recovery for the next day. Creatine, always. L-theanine is, again, something at night if you are wired and need to just bring it down. So that's what I'd be doing. You want to avoid stimulant overload because it will burn your dopamine as well. So if that sounds like you, intense, hungry, looking for more, but always just one win away from crashing, you're not lazy. You're just not training for your brain. So I help people align their training, nutrition, recovery with their brain chemistry so they don't burn out. And that's the thing that I'm focusing the most on now, because I think this is how it separates me from other coaches, because I always thought for so long everyone's the same. But someone like this is not going to respond to bodybuilding training. And I align much more to this because I'm a 1B, so I'm close to this, than I do to a type 3, which loves bodybuilding training. So it's not right or wrong. It's just learning what's working for you and what works for your brain chemistry, which is really cool. I'm going to do a series for all of these coming up. If you want to know what your neurotype is, just send me a message on Instagram that says quiz, and I'll send it over. You just fill out this form. I put it through ChatGPT. It tells me what you are. It's pretty cool. So let me know what you think of this. Let me know if you are a 1A, and how close it resembles your life, and also how far away you are from optimizing because you've been following something different, which I'd really love to hear that. Okay, I'll talk to you soon.